Alright guys, I felt 100% required to make a video on Viper. This hero is so insane. It is Speeed here today, talking about a mid-Viper and why it's so broken, what you can do on this hero to win MMR so easily, because I genuinely believe this is easily one of the best heroes for solo queue right now, hands down. Now before we get into the video, I want to let you guys know that recently we have started up our own gameleap private Discord server. Link is in the description below, so if you're interested, definitely go check it out. But what we'll be doing in there is doing giveaways. You'll be able to participate in polls in which you will get to decide what the next video is about, or you can even just talk to me. You can ask any of your life questions or Dota questions. It will make the community a lot closer, and that's what I'm looking to do. I want to make this a great experience for everyone. I'm having such a fun time doing this, so let's get into the video. Now, he's against even a hard matchup, right? This is why I like this replay so much. He's against Razor. Now, Viper is notably pretty good against specific heroes that can't contest him in lane so that he can snowball fast, especially in this meta where you can jungle. However, you're still okay against heroes like Razor who can push you out of the lane. And in this replay, we're going to talk about why it's okay to go against hard matchups as Viper and what you can do in order to maximize your ganking efficiency. Because I think for a lot of mid lane players, they have this inability to balance farming with ganking, and it's actually quite hard to find this balance. So I don't blame anyone who struggles with this. For me personally, when I was a mid laner, like primarily focused on mid from like 3k to 5k, I really struggled with this topic. So it's something I kind of figured out over time by watching other professionals' replays, and I'm here to show you and talk about some of my secrets here today with you guys. So the first thing you want to note in this laning stage is when he uses Nether Toxin. It's actually really important. And you notice whenever he's not linked or losing damage, he's going to look to push out the wave, right? Because the idea here is that you want to have the creeps dead before he can actually steal a lot of damage. Because if you Nether Toxin, after he steals damage, you're actually dooming yourself. So you have to be very careful with this. If he has his link off cooldown, right there, very important. But if he has his link off cooldown and you Nether Toxin, he's going to get 4 denies. Most good players will get 4 denies. So instead, right as his static link duration runs out, right away, he pushes in the wave, right? Super, super important. And that's why certain matchups like this aren't that bad. He even gets denied quite a bit. This strategy isn't necessarily reliable, but it's good enough, right? It will get you to the point where you'll have enough CS in order to jungle, right? Because in the laning stage for this new Viper, your job is to just get at least level 4, hopefully level 5, and then head off to the jungle. It really doesn't matter after that in bad lanes, right? You can stay a little bit longer in good lanes. However, what I'm going to recommend, especially if you're in a team setting, if any of you guys are playing as 5 or just in a stack in general, if you have a friend that is a support player on your team, try to give them a lane. This is one of the most effective things you can do, simply because it will enable your team to have a high level support that can make plays on the map. In the early game, especially in this meta, people can't roam as well. The lanes are a lot more static for the most part. So giving a support a lane is extremely, extremely effective. And definitely one of my major tips. Now, next thing you want to do is Viper stack camps. Right, this is how you do it. You use Nether Toxin to stack one and auto attack the other. This is a huge deal. I actually can't stress how big of a deal this is. In addition, before we move on to the laning stage, because I want to focus more on his farming patterns and ganking patterns, but before we move on, I want to talk about the item build. Now, he goes for 2 Wraith Bands, and what this will let you do against heroes like Viper is play the lane fairly well. In addition, you do have to right-click creeps quite a bit to actually take them. So once again, around the 5-minute mark here, before we move on, I just want to show that once again he uses stacking. You Nether Toxin a little bit early, and then auto attack to stack. This is extremely, extremely effective for snowballing your farm, right? He's willing to miss even a few CS for it because he understands the overall benefits of this play. In addition, I know I said I wanted to move on, but this is way too crucial actually to not note. When the enemy cart wave is here, he made sure he pushed it in, right? There's so many people who make the mistake, especially on a hero like Viper, who has a low risk spell, to not defend mid. If he doesn't defend mid here, Razor's going to push in the wave and he's going to lose his mid tower early, which is detrimental. Heavily detrimental to the overall state of the game. It'll allow him to be easily ganked in the jungle and will give Razor a nice boost of gold for his team. So you really need to keep the mid tower alive, especially when the cart wave is coming. That is your first priority, not jungling. So upcoming here is the first clip I want to talk about for roaming. Now, the main point that I want to make about roaming and making plays as a mid laner is that you want it to be in accordance with your farming patterns. Now, how do you do this? So I went into depth on it in a Viper guide that I made for gameleap, the website. However, what I will say to kind of just shorten it up and make a quick but concise point for here is that you want your farming patterns and ganking patterns to be in a line. I think a lot of players have this misconception that ganks have to be these like coordinated, sneak through the river, come up behind them plays, when in reality, most people are not paying attention to what you're doing. In fact, it's very hard, even if they were trying to, unless they have wards, it's very hard for them to actually pay attention to where you are and respect it, or else they'll just lose their lane because they're too afraid. So, in general, your Ganks, as you can see, he doesn't do anything special. He's just farming 2 camps and notices that his Slark is going on the Earthshaker. Now his Slark gets exploded by Techie's bomb. Crit on the Techies. Very interesting. Maybe EG will be picking it. But you'll notice it's just a simple rotation, right? There's not much to that. It's very fluent. And in the replay I went over on the website, he did this multiple times, 3 to 4 times in a row. Now, people would often think that, oh, it's just the noob opponents, right? They're not paying attention. What are they doing? Blah, blah, blah. But that's not how Dota works, right? There's 3 lanes, and if people want to maximize their farm efficiency, they have to stay in the lane in many times, even when there's a threat. And because of this, rotations like this are more effective than people think, especially on a hero like VIPER that has his Q maxed out. And that is my next point. CCNC in this game, and I know I always go for CCNC games, but bear with me, that he maxes out poison attack, and a lot of players have been maxing out the corrosive skin, which is really nice for farming. And what I want to say about these 2 different builds is that maxing out your Q will make your farming a little bit worse, simply because you have to commit more mana to use it. However, it scales quite nicely, right? It goes down in mana, so it's nice to max out, but you still do have to cast mana to actually use it. So as a result, if you're AFK farming completely and that's your goal as VIPER, then just max skin, right? Just max skin and Nether Toxin. You're always maxing Nether Toxin. That's not up for debate, but if you want to rotate like he does and go these like Treads Midas builds, that's a little bit different from the Atos Greaves build that a lot of players are going right now, then consider maxing your Q. I think this is the difference. If you are going defensive Atos style, get skin, and if you're going aggressive Midas style like CCNC does here, then go for something like Treads and max your Q. So that's how I would make the difference. And in general, I'm actually more a fan of the max Q build, only for the reason that in solo queue you want to make plays, and people are often easily able to be caught off guard for the reasons I talked about previously. So for that, I would recommend maxing your Q. The next item he buys is actually Blink Dagger. Now, I can't fully explain this item. It's very weird. It's definitely something he's just testing out. However, what I would say is VIPER's typical issues are the ability to actually get on top of people. Now, it's not hard to stay on top of them once you get there, but let's see what he can do with it in this game and how he actually uses it. So besides farming patterns and getting to camps faster, let's talk about what he does in order to actually make use of this Blink Dagger. So in this clip, he acted like he was going to TP out. He was pushing the bottom tower and acted like he was going to leave. And he sees no one on the map. But what is a common theme with their heroes? They don't have very good response, right? They could TP in a VIPER, they could TP at Techies, and an Undying. And he could TP out from almost all of them. Even Gyro, right? If Gyro was the response, the only threatening one is Earthshaker. But he's in solo queue, you often can make bold plays. And I don't like saying things that's tailored strictly to solo queue, but I know a lot of people are very interested in raising their MMR, and for that, sometimes plays like this and buying a Blink Dagger is crucial, right? So if we go ahead here, you'll notice this is the value in the Blink Dagger. In some situations, if he doesn't have it here, it could take him a bit to get on top of the Gyro, and the time for the Gyro to react is a lot longer. In addition, the time in which they can rotate in is a lot longer, and now, actually, it's not much of a risky play, right? Because they actually see a lot of enemy heroes. Maybe that's why he was waiting. And now that they've shown, he blinks in, and the VIPER is easily able to shred this Gyro, right? No BKB, there's just not much this guy can do. Even though he gets a rocket off, he ticks out. So, really interesting. This is something you can implement into your pubs. You jungle, right? You spend the early levels jungling. You use your max poison attack to gank in accordance with your farming patterns. Don't just run around. If you ever find yourself running around, not hitting a hero or creeps for more than 30 seconds or even 20 seconds, I would even be willing to say 15 seconds. Question it and be like, what could I be doing that would be a lot more effective? Because I think for a lot of players, they're like, I was 10-0 by the 5-minute mark. I ganked all my side lanes, but my Slark still fed. Well, maybe it's because you didn't worry about your own game, right? And a lot of the times, as a mid laner, your only goal is not to help only the side lanes. I've heard a lot of players have this misconception where their role is to enable their safe laner, and that is not the case in the majority of games. There are exceptions, of course, or maybe you're a Rubik or some Ember Spirit and you have a Terrorblade or an Anti-Mage. However, in a game like this, or in a hero with the farming potential as Viper, that is not the case. And that is why I think Viper is so good in solo queue. So good, because you can gank with very low committal. This combo of Viper Strike plus your spells kills every hero in Dota, essentially, besides Jug and Lifestealer per se, and for very little. In addition, you can jungle afterwards, as long as you're buying clarities, right? As long as you have clarities, you can always stay on the map. You can keep your farm up, you scale well into the late game, you're hard to gank, and you're strong early. You cover a lot of bases. I think that's why the hero is so good right now, because he doesn't lose many lanes. You can first pick him, easily first pick him, hands down. I'm confident in that statement. And then, as long as you stick to this formula of jungling into ganks that are in line with your farming patterns, you will have success. Undoubtedly have success. And I think if you're not having success, you really need to go back, either watch some pro replay of Viper and check out their actual farming and gank patterns, like exactly examine them. That's what I like to do. Otherwise, I think you will have success if you're even just imitating a little bit of what they're doing, right? Imitation is the best way to learn from most people. Before I wrap up the video, I want to go over one last point and actually just quickly examine his item build. So as you see, he goes Sanshin Kaya and Ags. Now, what is most important about Viper in the late game? My apologies. It is Ags and level 20, hands down. This combo is incredible, absolutely insane. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's close to 1500 damage. 1500 damage on a 10-second cooldown. That is like pure Laguna Blade doesn't do close to that. It doesn't slow, it doesn't attack slow, and it's a longer cooldown. That is how insane Viper Strike is. This spell is absolutely bonkers. I can't even explain it. Level 20 in Ags is easily one of the hardest item to talent spikes in the entire game. Easily. And for that is why I think the Midas build is good, because if you can snowball to that level 20, you're going to hit a spike. I mean, just look at whoever he goes on. He Viper Strikes the gyro, and the guy just runs out of HP. All he did was cast his ultimate, and he nearly died from full HP. It's pretty broken. I don't know what else you can say. Look, he just cast it on dying. He dies. Oh my god. There's no. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's insane. That's it. Alright, I'm going to wrap up the video, guys, there. Thank you so much for watching this mini Viper guide. I hope what you learned from this video is a few key tips about what you need to do in order to keep your own farm up and snowball as Viper, because this hero is bonkers right now. I promise you, if you learn the farming patterns and the item timings and spikes for this hero, you will easily gain over 500 MMR. It is so simple. It's just easy. Like, I don't even know what to say. You just cast your spells and people die. And if they go on you, they just die. It's a really straightforward hero, and for that, I easily put it at like top 5 heroes right now, hands down. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, as it helps the channel grow. I've been doing a lot for this channel lately, and I'm super happy to do it because I really just enjoy making content for you guys, and I genuinely mean that. It's a passion of mine, and hopefully you guys are taking a lot out of it. Alright, thanks for watching.